Hello everybody, it's me here, Mr. Truth, and in today's video, I wanted to sort of do something a bit different again. I'm going to go over 5 quarterbacks that were just absolutely terrible in the NFL, but sort of have fell a bit under the radar, have gone forgotten over the years, and this is from current day to 2015, so essentially 10 years of NFL football, 5 quarterbacks from that sort of era, from that time span, of the NFL. Quarterbacks who have just been absolutely abhorrent and have gone under the radar, although they have been absolutely terrible. So let's get straight into it here with number 5. Now this one, I feel bad including this guy because he's only ever started 1 game at quarterback in the NFL. And no, it's not Kendall Hinton because everybody knows the story of Kendall Hinton. It's Ian Book, a quarterback who was drafted in the 4th round in 2021 by the New Orleans Saints, who were desperate after Drew Brees retired from the NFL to find a franchise quarterback. So they picked one of the later sort of mid to late rounds to try to secure a future quarterback that could be good for them. And the guy was Ian Book out of Notre Dame. He had a pretty solid college career at Notre Dame. He threw a lot of touchdowns, wasn't really turnover prone, but didn't really have the best sort of traits or size at all. He's only about, what, 6 foot, 6'1". So he's small, he's not really mobile, he can't really escape or get out of the pocket. He had really below average arm strength. It was bordering on noodle fucking arm here. And he wasn't really the most imposing guy or a guy as a defense you would fear, sort of playing in your next game. He's a guy you would laugh at, you would scoff at if you were a defensive coordinator and say, hey, all we have to do is step on the field today, boys. All we have to do is step on the field and we're going to beat the Saints. It's Ian Book. How hard can it be? And Ian Book proved why he cannot play at the NFL level in 2021, where he made his first ever start on Monday Night Football against the Miami Dolphins. He had an atrocious game. He had a 60 completion percentage, hurled 2 interceptions, and was just a fucking piece of fucking dog shit at quarterback. And I know a lot of people get mad at me saying, oh, he was a piece of shit. I don't mean it as a human being. Ian Book's probably a nice dude in the real world. I'm talking about on the field playing quarterback at the NFL level. He was a fucking piece of shit scrub who didn't belong anywhere near the football field. Didn't even belong on the sideline. Didn't belong in any professional league is what I'm trying to tell you guys right now. He was so fucking bad that it was bordering on comical. It was bordering on almost fucking completely and utterly hilarious how this guy could even make a roster, be drafted, let alone see the field in an NFL game. He was a scrub. He started 1 game. He's now a Super Bowl champion with the Philadelphia Eagles as a taxi squad quarterback, I believe. So congrats to Ian Book for winning a Super Bowl championship. In his NFL career, he has 1 more than Dan Marino, which is the saddest fucking thing you've ever heard in your entire life. But still, that's going to remain true until the end of the world. And Ian Book was just terrible, had no traits, had no arm, no mobility, couldn't read a defense, no accuracy, no poise in the pocket whatsoever, didn't have a clutch gene, didn't have anything it took to play quarterback at a high level. And he was drafted in the 4th round by a desperate team looking for a franchise signal caller. And it didn't work out in the end. It's as simple as that. So that was number 5, Ian Book. Coming in very, very hot at the number 4 slot here in this list is Jaguars quarterback Jake Luton, who was a 6th-round draft pick in the very, very famous 2020 NFL draft class, especially for quarterbacks, guys like Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Hurts, Jordan Love, all those elite franchise quarterbacks, and you had Jake Luton, who stood at an imposing 6'6", damn near 230-pound frame, certainly built like an NFL star quarterback, didn't play like an NFL star quarterback. He started in, 3 games in the NFL, didn't win a single game in the NFL in his rookie season in 2020, threw 6 interceptions, only threw 2 touchdowns in his career, had an under 55 completion percentage in his career in the NFL. This is a guy who had a rocket-like arm but had a 10-cent fucking brain. A guy you cannot trust when it matters the most. A guy who just wasn't a great decision maker, and it showed at the NFL level. The game looked a bit too quick for him at times. He had a good first game in the National Football League, but it fell off a damn cliff after that. His final ever start in the NFL, which was his 3rd only start in the NFL, he fired 4 interceptions in a blowout loss. And it was just a shame because this guy, I feel like he was rushed into the NFL. Unlike Book, who just never had a single trait that would suggest he could be a star quarterback, I at least thought Luton could have been something. He could have been, a high-tier backup but Lou never realized his full potential as a quarterback in the NFL. Had a really big arm, had the frame, wasn't athletic, bad decision maker, not secure with the football, not the greatest at reading a defense. Accuracy was, hit or miss at times, and, that shows because it was, 54 completion percentage for his NFL career. His career NFL numbers were absolutely atrocious, and they reflected, in his play on the field. It was subpar, folks, at best. He was not good whatsoever. He was just fucking terrible for the Jaguars in his rookie year. He's bounced around on some taxi squads for a bunch of other teams in the NFL, but never has managed to stick for a prolonged amount of time on an NFL roster. So that was number 4, Jake Luton. Now, at number 3 on this list, it is going to be former New York Jets quarterback Bryce Petty. Was selected in the 2015 NFL Draft in the 4th round by the New York Jets at 103rd overall. So another mid-round pick, a guy like an Ian Book. This time he had a better stature, better size, better sort of frame for a quarterback, 6'3", about 220-something. So he was definitely built like your prototypical, starting NFL quarterback, definitely at that 6'3" frame. The main problem with Petty is I feel like he was very scared to throw deep because he didn't have an arm. He had a very, very bad arm. He had a noodle fucking arm, and it showed when he played. He was not great. His career adjusted yards per attempt is like 4 something. It's terrible. So he was very, very prone to throwing quick little dinky throws and check downs. He just was not good when it comes to throwing deep. He came out of Baylor, so he played in a bit of a gimmicky collegiate offense that inflated his numbers quite a bit, made him look better than he really truly was. And it showed with his play. He was absolutely atrocious with the Jets. Career stats of 4 touchdown passes to 10 interceptions, a 53 completion percentage, a 1-6 record at quarterback for the Jets. He only started in 7 career games in the NFL, bounced around a couple teams, and promptly was out of the league. Bryce Petty, to me, he's an example of a guy who was once again a good college quarterback like an Ian Book, but did not have the skills to be a good quarterback reliably in the NFL. He had the frame, but he didn't have the arm. He didn't have the ability to pick apart the defense at every single level, short, intermediate, and deep parts of the field. He's a guy who was very prone to throwing checkdowns, was scared of pressure, wasn't mobile, wasn't accurate, wasn't anything, didn't have any skill that you could consider good in the NFL. He was a bad starter for the Jets. And Jets fans, I don't think any of them really remember Petty too fondly. So that was number 3, Bryce Petty. All right, everyone, we're getting down to it, the final 2 of this top 5 list. And coming in at number 2 out of the 2017 NFL draft class, it is Deshaun Kaiser, drafted by the Cleveland Browns in the 2nd round of that NFL draft class. And we all know what happened to Deshaun Kaiser. He's not very forgotten or very under-the-radar bad quarterback. He's just a well-known, infamous, pretty bad quarterback for the Browns. Just one of the hundreds of bad quarterbacks the Browns have had come through their ranks the past 20 to 30 years as an NFL franchise. Unfortunately for that organization, they've had a lot of quarterbacks come and go like a Deshaun Kaiser. Lasted 1 season with the Cleveland Browns, and promptly was traded to the Green Bay Packers, where he was horrible as well in a couple of appearances. This was not good whatsoever. His career numbers are trash, and I'm going to make an excuse for the guy. I feel like he had traits. He definitely had the arm. He had a good arm. He had good mobility, good enough. He had the frame. He had the size. He had the tools to be a good starting caliber NFL quarterback. I feel like mentally he was shot because he went to the scrub-ass fucking 0-16 Cleveland Browns, which is the worst team in the history of the NFL. And his stats don't look good. 11 touchdowns to 22 interceptions, a 53.6 completion percentage in that 0-16 season. Yards per attempt of 6.1, which is, solid. That's okay, but that's still like check down. We're looking at it. That's like Caleb Williams shit right there, if we're being honest. And his interception percentage was higher than his touchdown percentage, obviously. And he was just not very good. He didn't have any help. He didn't have any weapons. The offensive line was spotty. The running back room was not the greatest in the world, to say the very least. And defensively, they weren't the best either. So he had no help whatsoever, essentially. But still, he could have shown more flashes, more potential. He just didn't. He wasn't that good. That caused the Browns to move on from him, the next season and move him to Green Bay. And he was not good in his Green Bay tenure either. I believe he bounced around a couple teams after that and, never stuck in the NFL. And he only lasted a couple of seasons in the NFL and flamed out as a quarterback. He's probably the only one I'm willing to give an excuse because, once again, he was on a horrible Browns team. But, I mean, the thing is, he was not good at processing the field. Basically, every one of his picks is on him. Like, he's just staring down receivers. He's throwing into coverage. He's making errant decisions and erratic decisions under duress. Not what you want out of a franchise quarterback for certain. And Deshaun Kaiser, while he might not be a forgotten under-the-radar trash quarterback the past 10 years, he definitely is one that people remember for, some pretty bad reasons. So that was number 2 on this list, Deshaun Kaiser of the Browns. Okay, so the number 1 on this top 5 list is former Denver Broncos quarterback, drafted in the first round of the 2016 NFL draft class at 26 overall. It is quarterback Paxton Lynch. And listen, real talk. How the fuck did an NFL organization get fooled by a quarterback this overrated, this overhyped, this garbage, and absolutely everything when it comes to quarterbacking? He had nothing. He literally had nothing. He was fucking horrible. He was an awful player, overrated, played in a video game, spread fucking offense at Memphis, stat padded, made him look better than he really fucking was. He's a classic example of a shitty ass, garbage, tall fucking quarterback. Oh, he's a big arm. No, he didn't. When you watch him in the NFL, the ball flutters in the fucking air. Overrated arm strength. For a college quarterback, strong arm. For a quarterback playing in a scrub conference against scrub teams, dominating scrub teams, yes, he was very good. He was almost elite. But that's not the whole fucking story. That's not the whole picture. You've got to understand that quarterbacks like this coming out of these shitty small colleges who don't play anyone. Oh, but he beat Ole Miss in his final year. Ole Miss. What have they ever done? What has that program ever done? Nothing. They never won anything the past 25 fucking years of their goddamn existence. Not won a goddamn thing. And they're another team that runs a shitty ass fucking high school video game garbage offense. So don't give me any of that bullshit whatsoever. Paxton Lynch was so overrated, it's not even funny. I can't even laugh. I can't make a joke. I can't do anything. I have no material with that bullshit because Paxton Lynch was straight up fucking trash at everything. He couldn't read a coverage. He couldn't diagnose a defense. He couldn't process. He had an overrated arm strength. He was not mobile. He was 6'6", damn near 6'7" quarterback who could not move from within the pocket whatsoever. Practically useless. He's a statue. He's no Tom Brady where he doesn't need to run. He is so bad at throwing that he has to have something else going on for you to consider starting him in the first place. But no, he didn't have that. He had no it factor at quarterback. He was just so staggeringly bad it wasn't even funny. Coming out of the college ranks, a classic good quarterback at college who has no traits that translate over. Overrated arm strength, overrated athleticism. He couldn't read a defense. He was slow at processing. He was a one-read quarterback in college in a video game spread fucking offense. It was insane that this kid was even taken as high as he was in the draft. If anybody had a brain in the Denver organization, they would have realized he's not as talented as people are making him out to be, and he would have never been picked in the first round in the first place. That's what should have happened, but instead, a stupid organization overreached on a talent that's not even that fucking good to begin with and hoped that he worked out. He was a Project Raw quarterback who they refused to develop, who had no skill whatsoever, and did not belong anywhere near a starting job in the NFL, yet he was thrown out there like he was some prodigy, like he was some great, he's next up to be a great NFL quarterback when he had nothing going for him. Rant over, video over, Paxton Lynch is number 1. Thank you all for watching. This has been Mr. Truth, and this was nothing but the truth. Fuck!